And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Holotheatre. I'm Dan Tartaglione, back from vacation. Joining me today is the advocate himself, Mr. Scotland Grell, and we are joined by, that is not Max Rebo, everybody, that is Jason Riendo, also known as Apollyon. So he's joining us. He unfortunately doesn't have a webcam, but he is joining us via audio. So how are you guys doing this evening?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be back here.
Disappointed that I don't have a webcam, but just
Yeah.
happy to be here.
So we got a lot to talk about tonight. So we had the normal Holotheatre stuff. We're going to go over some of the stuff from. We have a lot to talk about, as well as what Jared discussed last week with the Set 15 spoilers. We got Nationals coming up. We're going to do some fun hit, swing and a miss. It's a hit stuff. But first, we're going to focus on Jason. Jason recently came off a win at the NPC. You took down what was it, three or four people for the NPC Constellation tournament.
It was for.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. So let's start with the first match. Let's start at the beginning. I mean, that makes the most sense. Am I wrong?
Makes all sense in the world.
Well, yeah. So Jason actually supplied us with some pictures. So what we'll do is we'll actually bring those up here in a second, and we'll talk about some of those. So, actually, there we go. Sorry about that. So we're going to start with game one. So game one, you played. Looks like you played CCT versus EB or Throne Room with the
Yep.
a secret base start. So who was your opponent for this one?
This was my top four against Winston. We're not going to have nearly enough time to go over all of them, so condense it to the top four.
Okay, that makes sense. So go over some of this match. So what were like the key points of it? Like this is again, it's the Throne Room versus CCT. Looking at your opening hand, it looks like it's a pretty good opening hand, especially the fact that you have a Dark Time for the Rebellion right off the bat.
I actually think that's my third best card in the hand, to be honest with you, because I put Greedo and Disarmed over it. Dark Time is good
Uh,
for Destiny, so
mhm.
I can't make him go below the immunity.
Well, not only that, the other thing is one, it gives you extra activation on turn one because unless you're playing with the He's All Yours Bounty Hunter to transport to pay for free, you don't have, you might, by looking at it right now, you don't have enough force to transport Boba Fett on turn one.
I actually do run He's All Yours just because +1 activation is just so good. Yes, I give up a card slot to do it, but +1 activation turn one is real good. That's why everyone runs Walkling.
Okay, and that makes sense. So after that, we see that we go into the game a little bit more. As you can see, he looks like he wasn't really throne roomed. I do like the strike planning plus the Endor. It looks like he was able to get the Jedi Council Chamber out. So let's walk us through your first turn. What were you thinking? You do pull the He's All Yours Bounty Hunter.
I actually do because Carbon Chamber console gets me that for free turn one against Throne Room.
Mm-hmm.
So he pulls Endor, which is, I think, really good for me because he's not drawing cards or he's not playing relevant stuff that's an immediate threat. And that's usually my biggest concern against any sort of main deck, is that they can come after Boba Fett really hard and just crush me.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Were you able to flip turn one?
Yeah, I was able to get out Audience Chamber, and then I went directly to Audience Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel guilty about going to Audience Chamber without a whole lot of backup, but here I have the Dark Time plus Greedo, so I have a bunch of reinforcement.
True.
In case he does decide to go there. So it's a pretty basic turn one. I go for Boba Fett plus gun, then move over to the AC.
And it looks like he got Yoda out turn one, or his turn 3, it looks like.
Yeah, he goes and gets out the Yoda. Then
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't go after Boba Fett, which is kind of interesting. Um, but I can see why he doesn't, just because I have the possibility for a really big counter beat if I go and switch it out for projective telepathy.
Yeah, were you at all fearful of the Mandalorian mishap or something to
Yes.
cancel Boba Fett's game text?
I'm always worried about Mandalorian mishap. There's
So,
nothing I can do about it, though, so I basically just go, he has how many cards? And how many cards are in his reserve deck at that point, so
mm-hmm.
it's 36 versus 12, so I'm basically 25% to see it, and I'll just play the odds there and just get ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, also, Jason, because he's not running Speak or any of the use pile shufflers, searchers, the only option is if he gets a Ray and maybe gets a card, it gives him more choices to help cancel. But you're right, you feel pretty good in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I just have to trust in RN Jesus, so.
There you go.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So it looks like you. What were you looking for at this point?
So this is basically a turn cycle later. He has out Anakin plus his the lightsaber at Carbonite Chamber, and I've set up a pretty bulky audience chamber. So there's a couple of cards that I can get. You'll be dead is +1 damage a turn, which is okay. That's I think that gets me a little bit somewhere, but it doesn't get me far enough. He does have 4 force, so trying to go for like Aura or Mighty Jabba or like Dr. E just means that I'm gonna have to run into Clash, I think.
Okay.
And or a Sorry About the Mess. So here I decided to go for the Ellis just because I already have Wolf. So I know Ponda Baba is in my reserve deck. So I could set that up at Endor to satisfy Battle Plan.
Yeah.
And also get in a Drain of 2 plus a Drain of 2 plus Retrieve of 1. So I'm racing 5 to 3.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say was, being that you can retrieve with your objective, it's not a bad idea going to space. You satisfy for Battle Plan, and you satisfy for the Light Side Coward, which is
Simple tricks and nonsense.
There you go. Yeah, and that's not. I mean, your biggest concern right now is that drain of 3 right now at the Carbonite Chamber. But again, if you're draining for 4 and he's draining for 3, yeah, you're doing a little bit more damage and you're slowly outracing him.
Just as importantly, he's paying 3 to drain for 3, and I'm paying 0 to drain for 4. In a very moderate activation game like this.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised you didn't decide to go with the passenger deck as well. That is another option to give yourself some more force to work with, but yeah.
Yeah, so the secret is I have Scum out, and Scum is basically 2 to 3 activation a turn. Plus Ellis gets me through Battle Plan, so that basically covers the 2 activation from Battle Plan, so...
What card did you take, Jason?
Ellis.
Okay.
And were you worried about him going to space at all?
Kind of, just because when I see a new secret base, that's pretty good, but I also have projective telepathy in hand, so that sort of limits how much he can actually go to space. Plus, I also have Greedo for more forfeit on top of it if it goes super lopsided.
Okay.
I also have a Dark Time, so he's even if he gets like Profundity, that's 2 Destiny, which is kind of scary. But I have a bunch of damage mitigation to go with that.
True. And it looks like, yeah, you were able to set up. He set up himself for Coward, moving Yoda over to the Naboo docking bay, which is interesting. And then on your next turn, what did you go with this turn?
So here I have a lot of options once again. Jango Fett allows me to set up a pretty good beatdown on either Yoda, mostly Yoda to be perfectly honest with you. Jabba's Space Cruiser lets me back up Ellison Hamthra. I'm less certain about that. Jabba's Haven lets me retrieve, but I don't have a very full lost pile yet, so I don't think that does a whole lot. So I decided to go for the safe route and go for the Twi'lek Advisor, just because I get the passenger deck, which pulls out a 0, and also gets me the 2 activation that we talked about last turn.
Mm-hmm.
Also of note, he drew up to 21 cards in his hand.
Oh, yeah. So, were you running the Monarch at all?
No.
Oh. You see your opponent just draw that many cards, and you're just like, oh, where's my Monarch or Grimtosh when I need it?
Yeah, that would have been super good out of it. But ultimately, instead of making them lost, it just recycles them, so it just sort of draws out the game.
True. One other thing I was thinking was, if you would have went with like Cad Bane and Aura Singh, you could have easily got rid of the Yoda.
Yeah, and I definitely thought about Cad just because he breaks Yoda's immunity, but I need another card to really do anything with that, and I only trade out 1 drain that he spends 3 to drain at for 1 drain, and I have a Cad left over, or an Aura left over, either way.
Yeah.
So I think I'd much rather just go get the Twi'lek Advisor, draw a couple of cards, and then do something else with the next turn. Set up for a better next turn rather than a kind of mediocre this turn.
Okay, that's fair. And there we see...
Against you. I'm at this point thinking you don't have... There's no reason to go to the Audience Chamber. I'm thinking you have all the cards you need. Because you're pulling a few times. I feel that what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah, so what I end up doing is I end up deploying Bosk and Aura to either set up the Disarmed on Anakin, or I just force them to waste stuff because I have the Gick in hand.
And then so...
That's what I do. I grab the Twi'lek Advisor, passenger deck, then Bosk and Aura, and pass the turn.
And so where do you go with the Bosk and the Aura?
I go to Carbonite Chamber to go and make Anakin do a thing. He does have the barrier for Aura, which I kind of expected with 21 cards in hand.
Yeah, that seems
so
fair.
That made it even easier to just go, yep, not going to battle.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go to the next page, or next image, Dan, you'll see it.
Yeah, so we see that you went down... So he came down with... It looks like he came down with General Leia, the Tantive, and Poe, but he didn't battle you.
He did. I used up a Stunning Leader that I pulled with Iggy on his turn.
Okay.
So he retrieved one, I canceled the entire battle, and now all of a sudden I have a beatdown squad ready to go. Because I have Bosk, Greedo, Proxima, and Mighty Jabba for 3 Battle Destinies right there.
Yeah. So I'm seeing there's no Aura Singh on the table. What happened to her?
She ain't sorry about the mess.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, because that would have been nice to see the Disarmed on the Anakin. But you can't have all the things.
Yeah, that was a good play on his part, just because, well, otherwise Anakin was getting disarmed, and he's just real far behind at that point.
Yeah. So, and then I think on the next image, okay, so what happens on your turn with this image?
Is that one the Jabba alone?
Yeah, so the next one was we have Jabba alone versus Leia with her gun, Rey with the Anakin's lightsaber, and Jabba by himself.
Yeah, so Jabba is power +6 because he doesn't have Jabba's Prize V there.
Okay.
So here Jabba just has way too much power, and I end up drawing a 5 for a Destiny.
So he wasn't able to hit you?
No, because he doesn't have nearly enough force to go and use either the lightsaber for Rey, or he has the Leia's blaster to make him go lost. Plus, he also had the blaster proficiency used, but Jabba's defense value 7.
That's true.
Because that Jabba is just an absolute tank.
Yeah. Literally. So were you able to not lose anything in this battle then?
No. Yeah, he had a battle with two mains or off mains with weapons, and Jabba survives, and that's pretty much game. He loses Rey, and then he moves over Leia to the security tower, and Jabba just stays there because he's just an absolute monster when they don't have Jabba's prize V.
And we see that on the next turn. So you are occupying three battlegrounds. He's occupying two. What are you taking to your hand at this point?
So at this point, he is kind of in a bad spot. All I need to do is kick out his Yoda.
Yeah.
And You'll Be Dead gets me 1 damage, but at this point, he's running really low on cards, and I think I'd just much rather force the issue. I have retrieved a bunch of cards already, and my use pile is, I think, 3 cards at that point. So I go with the Sith Fury, just because it basically guarantees me good stuff against the Yoda. So what I do is I kick out Yoda, and with CAD plus this. I'm trying to remember who I sent there. I have picked up Django at some point.
Yeah, you got. It looks like in your hand you have CAD and Django. So, and that's more than enough to get rid of the Yoda.
Yeah, so the Sith Fury is mostly just that way I can guarantee that I'm going to win and not be too sad about it, possibly force some overflow. Just because an overflow of like 1 or 2 is pretty good.
Yeah.
You feel really bad about using Gik and or Hujix for 2 4s, but
sometimes you want to. But it looks like you ended up winning. CAD is still there, and he's at 14. You're sitting at 8 cards in hand, so you're sitting pretty good. See that Luke came down as well. And it looks like you have you have the projective in your hand, or in your force pile, so you can grab that if you needed to.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning that he deploys Luke. He decides to go in battle. I have the Greedo just to force him to use some force. He does so, and he clashes Jabba, so Jabba is clashed at this point. And Greedo uses up my Gik, which I'm fine with at this point, because I can just retrieve Gik. So Luke isn't going anywhere, and at this point I still have Disarmed in my hand, so I think Dr. Evasion's the plan. So I grab Dr. Evasion to set up the Disarmed. Plus, I also have both Mara and P-59.
Yeah, you're sitting pretty solid at this point. So... Yep, and seeing that you did disarm him, and I'm assuming at this point that was pretty much game.
Yeah, so this is actually a really interesting misplay, because this is right after he goes and starts his control phase. He drains at Nal Hutta first.
Oh. Did he have another sorry combo?
No, actually it's even worse, because he should have drained with the Leia first. For the 2 that I couldn't do anything about from Come Here, You Big Coward. So he drains at Nal Hutta for the 1, and then I disarmed Luke, so now he's no longer at 2 battlegrounds for Coward.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When every force counts, stuff like that catches up on you.
Just as importantly, he also now pays to drain with Leia because he misses it entirely.
Oof. Yep, that hurts.
So he pays 3 to drain for 0 when he has 9 total force in his life left.
Yeah.
So I go ahead and the next turn I retrieve a whole bunch. I send both Shizor and Juri at Leia. Then I send Iggy over to put Han in his place in the dungeon. So I retrieve 5 force there, and I win by, 27?
So you're sitting pretty good for game 2. And looking at game 2, we have a Hunt Down versus OA matchup. So going into this game, obviously being that you're up by 27, you're kind of feeling pretty good. But when your opponent flips over Hunt Down, how do you feel?
I don't love this matchup just because General Leia is completely dead because
Yeah.
Decipher hates Skywalkers in that deck for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. So we see, and he got out Vader on turn 1, and it doesn't look like he has any of the lightsabers, so you possibly could get rid of the Vader because in your opening hand you have Padme.
Yeah, I definitely thought about that. I could have gone for General Calrissian Padme.
Mm-hmm.
I go for the relatively safe play of just go ahead and put Lando up into Jakku and just start the drain 2.
Okay.
Because when I'm up by 27, he has 42 cards in his reserve deck at this point, and all I need to do is drain for 7 turns.
True. Yeah.
Assuming that like nothing else interesting happens, and we just have a boring drain race of Jakku versus this.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So, and then seeing in the next image, it looks like you sent me something that you played out of commission to cancel the Visage. He grabs it, plays the Sense, and then drew the Visage.
Yeah, that's real bad luck on his part.
Yeah. And who did he have on the table? Just Vader, or was the Emperor out there as well?
Vader and Emperor.
Oof.
They were doom stacking my 1-2 was at the shipyard.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately the reason I didn't want to go with Padme to try and clear Vader is just because he can just as easily drop a dork, and now I'm just I'm down to Padme, and that's not great for me in this matchup. So,
and that's fair.
I'd much rather go with the safe play, force the battle plan strategy, and just out drain him just enough.
And looks like that is what you're trying to do. You're draining for 2 up in space. You're not draining for anything on the ground, though. And while he's draining for 3, because he does get the Saber, Vanny's out, and Palpatine are on the table. So,
yeah, he got a little bit lucky with he had the Force Lightning, no escape, Force Lightning again. So that's how Padme ultimately died. Is I went in center to go and flip, and he managed to kill her.
Okay.
So I was planning to go and combine the two, so it's Solo and Padme over at the Twinell Village. I also did blind mill my 2-2, the Starship Graveyard.
Oof,
so
that hurts.
Yeah. Welcome to the problem with Hunt Down and Visage. Just a whole bunch of damage, and you're just like, well, I don't really want to discard cards from hand because, they're good cards.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you end up winning this one by?
I actually end up losing by like 15 or so.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant. Sorry. Okay.
So, I don't love losing by 15, especially in a matchup that I think is about 50-50. But when I'm up by 27, I can afford to go and to be a little bit loose on some of that.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Okay, so
my win condition actually was changing the odds to go and to remove. I don't even remember what I removed from his deck from the game, but changing the odds to -1 force him from his life force got there. So.
And having the Gick opening hand, I guess, Logix really gives you a lot more flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can play a little bit more aggressively and, try and make him have more than enough answers. Make me contest me in space just because I drain 2 unopposed all game. That's how you beat Hunt Down ultimately as OA.
Okay. And then in the finals, you played against Mike Turner. You played There Is Good in Him, and Turner was on court. And I remember hearing about this game, and I want to say this game was pretty much a massacre.
Yeah, I think he put me on OA, which is why he was playing court. And Joe streamed this one, and it was I did mains things against Court, and Court did Court things against mains, and
Yeah.
this was one where pretty much as soon as we showed our objectives, the game was over. The only question was how much.
Yeah. So, and it looks like turn one, you had a pretty nice hand right off the bat. Obi-Wan, you had the Clash of Sabers. You had
Blaster proficiency.
Blaster proficiency. You had a really stacked hand.
Yeah,
So-
I had speak as well.
So, and as you can see, it looks like you did come down with Obi-Wan. He stuck around. I like how you hit the Jabba.
Yeah, I think Joe was actually right. I went for Jabba instead of Greedo.
Uh-huh.
Because I forgot about the +2 to play that first turn.
Okay.
+2 forfeit.
Perfect, yeah.
What that means is that I was planning on clearing Greedo, possibly if I draw 5.
Yeah.
So I set myself up so if I can draw multiple 5s anywhere and clear both. But
Yeah.
Joe was also, he was surprised to hear that I didn't play the Blaster proficiency. I did have my opening 12. The reason I didn't at this point was because I'm assuming that he has imbalance combo, and if he does, I am actually worse off because I still clear, and by clear I mean I use my Jedi's resilience,
Yeah.
and I'm not better off. I don't clear scum or anything. So I'd much rather just have him clear Obi-Wan and not be able to retrieve with scum at all.
Mm-hmm. And that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could cause overflow versus Greedo, but I mean, what's my ultimate game plan? Like, cause 2 overflow?
Yeah, if you can get rid of scum, that's more important.
Yeah, and I'd much rather save up the 2 force and draw some cards.
Yeah, it looks like he came down back with Proxima and Aura Singh. So, and then on your second turn, now, did you initiate the drain? Or Luke's by himself, so I'm assuming you didn't drain at the
At the
hut.
No.
And then looks like we have another battle. So you hit Aura Singh.
This time I actually use a Blaster proficiency. The reason being that if he doesn't have the imbalance combo, I kill her, and then it's Proxima, and I still have Yoda there to go and clear scum.
Yeah.
So here I actually meaningfully advance my board state if he doesn't have imbalance combo. And that's why I waited for that instead of going turn 1 with it.
Yeah. Now, here's my question, though. Did you have the 2 force just in case for a clash?
I had, I believe, 5 force at that point, because I started off with, what was it, 14? I spent 9 to go and deploy those 2. So, 1 to go and battle.
So, yeah, you had more than enough
left.
force. Yeah.
Yeah, I had 4, and I could have clashed, but Aura still gets to shoot, and I'm basically nowhere better off in any meaningful way here.
Yeah.
For playing Clash here.
So, and then moving on, it doesn't look like you canceled Scum, or did he have a second copy of it?
I didn't get to cancel scum. He hit Yoda, and then we just traded 2 guys for 2 guys.
Oh, okay. So did he have the imbalance combo then?
He did, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so, he got a little bit, I don't want to say a little bit lucky, but, he had the imbalance combo, and he plays it for a reason. And I was playing around that, so.
Yeah, we see another battle with Rey and Lando coming down against Thrawn and Bosk.
Yep, and I do go and clash here the Django. Joe was surprised at why I went and clashed Django, and the reason for it is because now I guarantee that he can't kill Rey. He's just stuck killing Lando.
Yeah.
Which I'm more than fine with, because I clear out Bosk plus Thrawn, and I lose Lando to do so. That seems more than fine with me. I can cause some overflow as well. Just because I'm up 4 power and in Destiny.
Was this on your turn or his turn?
This is my turn, I want to say 4? Because he went and reinforced.
Okay.
with Django, Bosk, and Thrawn after that.
Okay, and then again,
So
he's
this will be
showing
turn
us
3.
some text. So.
Yep.
Oh,
So after,
okay.
yeah, he goes and has a no escape for Scum. So immediately I use Sense and Recoil and Fear.
That's dirty.
Yeah, so I'm
dirty.
taking a bit of a gamble, to be perfectly honest with you. This time it pays off because he doesn't redraw Scum. He does get the docking bay and passenger deck that he wasn't seeing. But I think that's still fine for me because Scum is basically 3 activation a turn.
Yeah.
So I've traded out 3 activation a turn and retrieve 2 a turn for 3 activation a turn.
Okay.
And that just seems like a really good value play for me.
Yeah, and then we move on, and you have Ray and Din Djarin at the audience chamber against Cad Bane. He looks to check with his... What was he looking with at this point? Because he's showing Destiny, and I'm noticing that he has 3 cards on I Feel the Conflict. You also have Draw Their Fire out, so you're looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, so I don't remember why he actually verified, but the reason I actually bring this up is because he has a 5 and nothing else. So this is where Joe went and we was talking about how I had the barrier for the Dr. E that comes down. Because he goes and drops P59, Shizor, and Dr. E. So the reason I'm not worried about P59 is because he's 1 in 10 to hit me. Shizor does absolutely nothing other than just be a dork. And so the one I have to care about is Dr. Evasion, just because he can actually do damage to me. So that's where I barrier him. And that's what I'm seeing as to why I say my barrier early for guys who just don't matter a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we see that he does initiate. He hits Ray. Interesting.
Yep. Better lucky than good, right?
Yeah. So.
If only he had a Dr. Evase in there who could have actually went and killed Ray and did some real damage. But here I go ahead and I believe I hit Shizor. And then I just draw 2 Destiny and I clear him.
Okay. So I'm assuming you have a Jedi Resilience in your hand and you play Ray again?
I actually draw my second Ray off of later on. So this is a couple turns later. This is where I have control over the audience chamber. I drop Jar Jar to go and reinforce Dindins at the audience chamber. Clear Dr. Evasion and cancel his Scum a second time. And at this point, I have the game pretty locked up. So he drops Zam over at the Great Pit just so he doesn't take the damage from his own court. So I drop Ray there, and he plays Greedo.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, that's a really common misplay.
Yeah.
And that's also why I don't run Zam in my Dark Side Aliens decks.
That's fair.
Just so I can guarantee that I'm not going to misplay and be like, oh, I can Greedo, and be really sad. So
I'm assuming you won. So what'd you end up winning by in this game?
28, I think.
Wow.
Wow.
And then we see
it's a real bad matchup.
And then we see Watch Your Step versus CCT. And pretty much, so you're on CCT. It looks like he comes down to the audience chamber with Han and Chewie Enraged. Hits your Greedo.
Yeah, he draws 13 off of a 3, a 1, and a 3. And I'm busy cursing Decipher out with how broken maintenance is.
Yeah.
But he also has, at that point, like 10 cards on table. And he has to try and win by high 20s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he gets a clear. I lose basically my team plus Jabba's prize. but not Scum.
Okay.
And I don't love that trade in terms of winning the game, but in terms of winning by or losing by like 20 or so, I love that trade.
Yeah, and that's fair. So you ended up winning that match, you ended up winning that match, and you ended up winning the entire thing. So again, congrats on that.
Thank you.
So
What did you lose game 2 by?
He actually conceded after I would go and send Hondo Onaka to go and beat up one of the Duros pair.
Okay.
Who was all alone. And at that point, I've had I think 4 guys at Audience Chamber with Scum there. And he's basically out of cards. Because Chewy is placed out of play, so no more Chewies ever coming back. He's lost a Han, he's lost another smuggler. He did send a bunch of guys there to go and battle, but I had Dengar to go and shoot his team.
Okay.
So at that point, he just has way too many cards lost, and there's basically no way back for him.
Yeah, and that's fair. So another reason why we brought you on today is because you're part of the playtesting team. Is this correct?
Yes.
So set 15, from what I hear, is right around the corner. How was it testing set 15?
I was really happy to see a lot of the cards that came out. Daughter Skywalker V is finally playable, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. I don't know. Like, I'm a little intrigued by this Rescue the Princess deck. It's definitely different than what Decipher originally created. So
it's way better than what Decipher did. Just because one of the things that I found out my first time playing against Rescue the Princess was that the absolute best play is to never actually try and like force the princess back into her prison. Because what you do is you're like, hey, cool, that's Leia. I'm going to go and send, like, EPP Maul to go and kill her.
Yeah.
Oh, he just killed her. Great. See, I just cleared. See, no more princess. I'm good now. And they're just like, nope, General Leia now shows up at Yavin 4. And now you're permanently flipped.
Yep.
Which, from a flavor fan...
Yeah, it's a little... doesn't make any sense.
So it's definitely been very interesting. Yeah. I haven't seen this many Premier or New Hope cards in God knows how long.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because we get new Luke, we get a new Han, we have a lot of light side Death Star sites that otherwise just gather dust at someone's... I won't even say binder, because they aren't even worth bindering.
I mean, they can be. Now, I'm excited because, like, not only that, we're getting some more Resistance characters, we're getting some stuff for Shadow Collective. Like, I'm really excited for Rook, or I don't know however you say his name.
Ruck, maybe? Rook?
Ruck, yeah. So, I don't know, I'm excited. I'm intrigued by this set, like, but we'll have more to talk about that next week, because next week we're going to have Chris Kelly on to talk about some of the thoughts and everything behind the set. So,
yeah, I'm really excited about... someone who actually lets me go and flip back Hunt Down as old allies with General Leia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Scott...
Especially because...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Especially because as an OA player, there's nothing that I hate more than going, hey, I want to deploy General Leia and beat up Vader. Oh, wait. Yeah. Cards say that I can't go and engage in battles? Yeah. Well, this is exciting. Thanks, Decipher.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, but we've been playing with that since since Hunt Down's been there. So I mean, now Anakin though, that's a different story. Don't get me started.
Hey, I'm just excited to see Oddball in back-to-back sets.
So Scott, you wanted to bring up something on tonight. Is that true?
Yeah. So about a year ago, we were putting together the deck builder site, right? And one of the problems we had about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, is the volunteer made it incompatible with our site. So the entire site was pretty much done, and it was all incompatible with our new server. And so what we've done in the last month is we're getting ready for a beta test of it, and someone spent about 20 to 30 hours redoing all the code so it would work on the site, which is nice because the way I guess AWS works is that we want to be able to update things and make it so that you don't have to download as much. So AWS allows the data to be accessed quicker. So we're asking people that just want to beta test it. Our hope is over the next month or two to basically have it live, and I'm excited about that. Right?
Oh yeah. So if you want to beta test it, and if you want to help out with this, the easiest thing to do is once you go to the main page, you can actually see it right here up at the top of the screen. It's just Dex with the nice little beta tag, so that way you can actually go into it. So once you do, you'll go up to this screen right here, and you got to log into it. So you'll see that I'm already logged in. You can log in. You have to register for it.
Yep.
And then you'll go over to here, so you can go to build your first deck, pick a side. Let's go with light side, and boom! Right off the bat, all the cards. And I like this because it's suggested cards. So I'm going to build... So say if I'm going to build Old Allies. So... Wait.
You do the plus sign.
Oh, you do the plus sign. So it's telling me it's in my side deck.
Oh, yeah. You hit the plus sign on the left. So that's what I mean. There's some bugs, and that's the point of the beta, is to kind of go through it and say, hey, what's working, what's not working, what changes do you want? And so we'll get to that point. So that's why we're at the point now where we want people to go in, try some decks, see how it works. And the nice thing is as we continuously make changes over the next couple of months, we should have something live that will coordinate with GIMP and coordinate with decks and events and automatically export to the tournament director and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's going to make everybody's lives hopefully a lot easier, and that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. So, and the fact that the code was all rewritten to get it to work, it was a long process to get 30, 40 hours of this, so the fact that we're almost done is good.
So, really quick, for everything that's going on, also in the world of Star Wars CCG, we have the OCS still going on. It looks like Dylan, Timo Dusel, has qualified, going 12-0 this month. I know for a fact he played Diplo and he played Dark Deal, so congrats to Timo. Paul Myers, who went 12-0 last month, is sitting at 10-2. And right here we got MHT, who is 10-0, but I believe he already qualified. So get out there and play your OCS games, everybody. Also, we have the Jawa Brawl, which is the Sandcrawler Summer going on. No surprise to anyone, Timo is currently in the lead, being that he's played 8 games already. He's, again, is also sitting at 7-1, so nobody's stopping Timo from playing. The guy is a machine.
I'm assuming he doesn't work and he just plays games all day.
He's a teacher.
He's time management. Okay, kids, we're gonna learn something new today. You go read 10 chapters. I'll be back.
3 months off for summer vacation, right?
Yeah. And then, we're back to live and in-person Star Wars events, everybody. Nationals is coming out July 18th. And I want to say today, I'm offering to give someone free registration. So if you're watching, or if you're on this with me today, so Jason, you're available for this, and you want to be registered, if you want a free entrance into Nationals, what you're going to do is, you're going to, in the chat, just say the word Scott. And all you got to do is say Scott, and you'll be entered into this contest. And we'll do that at the end of the show. So I will get somebody free entrance into the live event because I won't be playing. Okay, so we got swing and a miss to talk about. We got 3 questions for today. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so
Always
our
ready.
first question of the night. At least 50 players will complete all 12 games of the Jawa Brawl. Hit or miss?
I'm gonna
Jason,
go with a hit.
Scott says hit.
I don't think that we've had 50 people complete 12 games in the OCS, and you both pay for that, and you get double foils. So I gotta go with miss on this one.
I'm gonna say hit. Like, I know that there's a lot of people registered for this event, so, and it's free. And I know the PC's giving out some cool prizes, and I know Kendall's giving out cool prizes. So, and this one lasts until the end of July.
That's true.
So, we'll talk about the deck builder a little bit
Maybe
more.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks we'll go a little bit more into the deck builder because it's still in the beta. So hopefully we'll have some more data revolving around it. So we'll have I want to say who designed it, Scott?
Well, there's a couple of people that designed it, so I don't have it all in front of me. But let's say 2-3 weeks, I'll be back because I know I'm having a big meeting this week with Devin to kind of go through some of the new changes that we're implementing, and there's a bunch of them coming in. So
Awesome.
just be patient. I know it's kind of tough. We're trying to feed some information, and we'll get more information though. And I'll be back on in a couple, 2 to 3 weeks, let's say.
Okay. Number 2, Dylan will complete all 12 games of the Jawa Brawl by the end of this episode.
Are you counting for when it's live streamed or when it goes live permanently up on YouTube or whatever?
Let's go live on YouTube because he is in Germany and he is asleep right now. So, I'm gonna say by the time it's live on YouTube tomorrow, I'm gonna say hit because, like I said, he's a machine.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against him. I'll go miss just so I can say I called him out, saying he's not playing enough.
Ooh.
Yeah, and if we're gonna go and give him, I don't know, like 12, 14 hours, I gotta go with hit.
That's fair. Okay, and our last question of the night is Scott needs a vacation because he's doing way too much for the PC.
Yeah, I'm going to Disney in 2 weeks with my family, so there's my vacation.
Oh, okay, see, that's fair. I didn't know that.
Well, I guess it's a hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess all that's left for me to do is plug StarWarsCCG.org/donations. That way we can buy
Yes.
Scott a vacation.
Well, I don't take that money. Don't worry. All the money goes to the PC. None of it comes to anybody. But thank you.
Yeah. Okay, really quick. We got June's deck building challenge. Only has 1 person in it so far. I feel let down. And this one's it's a pretty easy one, to be honest. All you gotta do is play a deck in the Jawa format, get 3 Jawas on the table with the Sandcrawler, and win. That's it. It can be any deck you want. So, right now we only have 1 person entered into this one. It is our good buddy JagTech. He entered early. It wasn't June on the clock when he entered it, but I said I would allow it. So right now Justin is currently leading. As you can see, here's his deck. He's got a plethora of Jawas. He's playing Agents of the Court. He had the Sandcrawler on the table with the 3 Jawas, so good on Justin.
That deck is a lot of fun to play, even if it isn't very good. Just
Right.
because you get to set up Draw Their Fire plus Jawas for some really big beatdowns. Because surprisingly, Ronto is really good in that deck, being a Destiny 5. That lets you also just draw Battle Destiny on your own.
I like that challenge, though.
You know, we're trying to do some, like, I like how, personally, I like that we're doing month-long challenges because it gives more time people to enter.
I agree.
And on top of that, so what we're doing is now, instead of just the first person to enter, so again, what we're doing is everybody enters, and then once the challenge is done, we do a drawing to see who wins.
Fantastic.
So, again, right after the lore challenge for Jason, we're going to do the drawing to see who gets who is going to have me pay for them for nationals. So again,
for the entry, not
for the entrance
flight.
No, I'm not paying for the flight. I'm not that well off. So if you want free entrance, type in Scott into the chat. Jason, you're going, so I'm going to enter you into the Scott. You're going, right?
I cannot. It's my mother-in-law's 70th birthday party.
You're not going?
I can't. It's I've got family commitments. My entire family's flying in, and I will get murdered if I go.
That sounds like a good time, though. Enjoy.
Okay, so
Next time.
Jason, are you ready for your lore challenge?
Not really, but might as well run it with it, because why not, right?
Exactly.
You got this.
Okay, your
And
lore.
I would say if we had the webcam on you, we could make sure you're not cheating, but next time.
It's hard to cheat. Well, not really, but your lore challenge. Wow, Your lore challenge is not Max Rebo. The carbonite froze more than just Han's body.
Someone who loves you?
Is that your final? Okay, no. So I'm going to read it, and remember, you get to decide: do you want the set or do you want the type of the card?
Let's go with the set.
Cloud City.
I knew this one. I knew this one.
So it's not someone who loves you. First one that comes to mind is carbon freezing, but I don't think that's it.
Scott's sitting.
Think of the
Nope.
the
No.
moment that's
No, Scott. Scott.
Yeah, I know that there's a card. Unfortunately, I don't think that's. I'm not sure if that's actually a card. And I have yet to look at Cloud City cards in forever, so. The one I can think of off the top of my head is Point Man, and I know that one's not it.
Scott, what is it?
Would you be surprised to think it was Ugnaught?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's.
not.
I know what it is. It's definitely Despair.
You're right.
Yeah.
You played it in your deck.
Yeah. That's nobody looks at that card because it starts on the table.
Yeah.
Nobody ever has a chance to read it in their hand.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go, everybody. The moment you've been waiting for. The free entrance into Nationals. So, Jason, you're going to be interested into this, okay? So I'm going to type this in the chat for the numbers. So it's going to go... JagTech, you're going, right? Actually... I like that. Let's see. Bill, are you going, Bill? Oh, yeah, Bill's going because, yeah. Anybody else in the chat, if you're going, this is your last chance. I see Ryan Saracen, but he's not talking. Ryan, you have you have 30 seconds to say Scott. That's not an excuse, Scott. Or Ryan. There you go. Okay, so we have 5 people entered. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, your number's in the chat. I just typed them. So I'm going to generate 5 numbers. Bill just broke me. So I have 5 numbers. So I'm going to spin it 5 times, and then the number after the 5th time is going to be the person who wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here we go. Our winner is the first person to say Scott. What's your name, Kaneko? Or Kane CEO? I don't know who you are. And are you registered already? Because if you're registered already, you get to go. Or I pay for you regardless. I need to know who you are.
Real quick, if someone does want to help with the beta testing, they can just email me at scott@starwarsccg.org, and we'll get them set up on how they can report issues, feedback, stuff like that. Okay.
Okay, so Kane's CEO is so flabbergasted that he won, he's still silent. So that's all I've got for tonight. So again, I want to thank Scott for coming on as the guest. I want to thank Jason for coming on or Scott for being the co-host, Jason for coming on as the guest. It's great to be back. I'm glad to be back and everything from my 2-week vacation. I'll be back next week. Chris Kelly's going to be on to discuss all of Set 15. So until then, Kane CEO, please make sure you get me your real name. So PM me on the forums, any information, so that way I know who you are and I can get you registered into the event. You know what? You're going to get the weekend pass. So that way you can play in everything. Yeah, so again, thanks to you guys for showing up tonight. It's been a pleasure, and I'll be back next week.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Until then, everybody have a good night and have a good week.